Welcome to Indira Gandhi National Open University. Dear learners and listeners, this topic Global Warming and Climate Change is part of the course BGP 003 Conflict and Peace Management. I am Dr. G. Uma, faculty in the School of Gender and Development Studies, Indira Gandhi National Open University. Welcome to this session. Before we get into this exact topic, I would like to explain the aims and objective of this session. This session will make all of you to understand the concept and consequences of global climate change. It also make you all to explain the factors that are responsible for deteriorating climate and evidences thereof. This session will make all of you to examine as to what impact it has on human health, that is this climate change, and is what methods the humankind can take to prevent further damage to our environment. Let us start understanding global warming and greenhouse gases. That is, we call it greenhouse gases as GHGs. Around 75% of the solar energy that reaches the earth is absorbed by Earth's surface, while the rest of it radiates back to the atmosphere, without which the planet would be too cold for the humans. Some of it is trapped by the gases in the atmosphere, which are called as greenhouse gases, and mostly by carbon dioxide. Also, the increasing human activity is leading to further increase in the release of carbon dioxide and that is what is causing global warming. Hope now you understand the reason for the global warming. Next, let us further understand the impacts of global warming. It is basically the rise in the temperatures leading to discomfort for humans and also causing changes in the weather patterns and natural climate changes. In short, the radiation absorbed by clouds, carbon dioxide and some other gases produce the greenhouse effect, and therefore the warming of temperature occurs. Due to this, there are variations in climate patterns leading to floods, cyclones, storms, water scarcity and desertification. The additional changes are melting of the glaciers, erosion of the soil system and rise in the sea levels. Carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide and chlorofluorocarbons, that is CFCs, are called as greenhouse gases. These chlorofluorocarbons that contain chlorine and bromine cause the depletion of the ozone layer, and this in turn increases the incoming ultraviolet radiation. While some natural weather changes contribute to gases, most of the emissions are attributed to human activities like industrial emissions, vehicular emissions, burning of forest and refrigeration. As per the estimates, the global mean surface temperatures would be about 2 degrees above the pre-industrial levels by the year 2030 and about 40 degrees above pre-industrial levels by 2090. Resultantly, due to the rise in global temperature and melting of glaciers, the sea level is projected to rise between 9 cm to 29 cm by 2030 and 28 cm and 96 cm by 2090. Precisely, climate change refers to the change in distribution of weather over a period of time in a particular region or whole of the earth. Though there are several causes attributed to climate change like motion of tectonic plates, variations in solar intensity of energy output, volcanic eruptions, and so on. Scientists around the world firmly believe that it is the human activities that are most responsible for the climate change problem. The rise in carbon dioxide component in the air, fuel combustion, deforestation, cement manufacturing, depleting soil fertility are all evidence to this belief. All of you must be and already feeling about the climate change. Suddenly so much of natural disasters we are experiencing in this world, not only in Asian countries, throughout the world. Some countries are many of the countries, they are experiencing so much of natural disaster. Scientists believed that these natural disasters are part of the climate change. Time and again, there have been efforts at all levels to persuade the nations of the world, especially the most polluting ones, to reduce their emission levels considerably so as to ensure a better environment for the mankind. The negotiations to this effect have not been much fruitful, as there seems to be no willingness on the part of the compliant nations to achieve progress on this front. Though the per capita emission level in India is very low, it is likely that their levels of greenhouse gases emission in future would increase manyfold. Many countries have signed a convention to reduce greenhouse gas emissions under the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, but these are definitely not enough to prevent the damage resulting out of global warming and the rising sea levels. The signatories to the convention, that United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, the signatories of this convention agreed to promote and cooperate in education, training and public awareness on different dimensions related to climate change and move to participate in mitigating the negative effects of the climate change. So, let us see what are the indicators of climate change. That is, the indicators are melting glaciers, rise in sea levels, acid rains, ozone layer depletion. First let us see melting glaciers. Glaciers are considered to be the most sensitive indicators of global warming. From the World Glacier Inventory compiled since 1970, which monitors the glacier mass and melting, it has been observed that the glaciers all around the world are melting very fast. Glacier melting would lead to severe water crisis and would result in extreme water scarcity for the future generations. The environmentalists are warning that the melting of glaciers in the Himalayan region could spell a disaster for the population living in these areas. The swelling glacial lakes severely impact regions with catastrophic flooding, leading to sweeping away of people, houses, roads and bridges. It is a fact that adequate monitoring is not being taken up to address this problem. In India, the Gomukh glaciers is one of the largest and sources of the river Ganga. It is spread over an area of 260 square kilometers, but the frequent mountaineering activities and travels by the enthusiasts have resulted in the increasing human activity in the area. Scientists have warned that the melting rate has doubled since 1970s and that the number of tributaries to the glacier, which were 9 in number, has come down to 5. This does not augur well for our environment, as the river Ganges could become in future a monsoon fed river with its sources of melting away completely. The other regions in the world that are facing threat from climate change include Arctic region, wherein the snow would melt considerably, losing its snow in summertime, and Siberia, where greenhouse gases are trapped most, leading to serious emission levels. Next indicator is rise in sea levels. One of the most serious factors resulting out of climate change effect is the rise in sea levels. The melting of the ice caps will result in 10 to 25 meter rise in sea levels, which means that the low-lying nations and areas are at severe risk. Indian Ocean region, Bangladesh, Mauritius, the Netherlands, Egypt are all under serious risk emanating from rising sea levels. The land area of the Netherlands is almost 60% below the sea level. In India, the coastal regions face the maximum risk with the low-lying areas mostly existing in Tamil Nadu, Gujarat and Maharashtra. The coastal regions also face the risk of severe natural calamities that once happened in 2004 tsunami and the Hatkat cyclone in Andhra Pradesh in 2014. Further, the supply of fresh water to the areas would seriously be affected as there would be an intrusion of salt water into the regular supply. Deforestation is also greatly contributing to the global warming as much as the much needed forest areas and reserves are being cut to pave way for concrete structures and building up of new cities and other infrastructure projects. Of all the risks associated with global warming, the rise in sea levels is the most dangerous so far. Next important indicator is acid rains. The burning of fossil fuels such as coal, oil and natural gas results in the production of chemicals like sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxides. In combination with water or other chemicals in the air, they become harmful pollutants and spread upwards in the atmosphere. These get back to the ground in the form of acid rain, fog or snow. Some of the countries that are at risk include Europe, Japan, North America and China to name a few. Acid rains wash away the nutrients from the soil, resulting in water pollution and poisoning of plain soil. They also affect the trees and the photosynthesis of plants, increase the insect infestation and drought. The water sources became acidic and it affects aquatic ecosystem. Acid rains deposition damage the buildings, automobile and other stone and metal structures. They ruin the structures to great extent. Though acid rain does not directly harm people, the toxic substances reach the water sources and pollute them. The fish fed on these water sources is harmful for human consumption. The smoke resulting out of the combination of these pollutants and fog has serious effect on human health, especially the respiratory system. One of the effective ways to contain the damage is to use less energy from fossil fuels and switch to cleaner burning fuels. For example, the using natural gas is cleaner than gas produced out of coal. The acidity in the soil may be minimized through using powdered limestones that neutralizes the acidity contaminating in it. Next important factor is ozone layer depletion. Ozone is formed by the action of sunlight on oxygen. It forms a layer 20 to 50 kilometers above the surface of the earth. It is highly polluted and poisonous gas and often results in human health hazards by causing respiratory problems. It also severely affects the natural vegetation and leads to the deterioration of plastic products. It is vital in protecting the earth from ultraviolet rays and radiation. The ozone layer absorbs the harmful ultraviolet radiation from the sun and protects the surface of the earth. The thinning of the ozone layer is the result of the chlorofluorocarbon emissions, which are indestructible until they reach stratosphere, where the ultraviolet radiations breaks them down into releasing chlorine atoms. The ozone and chlorine molecule break down into oxygen, but it does not absorb the radiation. The ozone layer destruction poses great health risks like skin cancer and cataracts. Cataract is affect our eyes. It decreases vegetation as well. The Montreal Protocol of so far we have seen the indicators for climate change. Now let us see the efforts taken at the international level to address the climate change. The Montreal Protocol of 1987 that aims at protecting the ozone layer came out with different proposals to ensure the recovery of ozone layer. It proposed the ban of the use of chlorofluorocarbons by the year 2000 so that the ozone layer can slowly recover. But other chemicals and compounds of the industries like bromine and nitrous oxide continue to damage the ozone layer. So far we have seen the reasons, what are the indicators for the climate change, that is the melting glaciers, rise in sea levels, acid rains and ozone layer depletion. Like for example, melting glaciers, it has a direct impact on as far as India is concerned, because in India, for example, Gomukh glacier is one of the largest and sources of river Ganga. Like it spread over the area of 260 square kilometers, but the frequent monitoring activities and travels by the enthusiasts has resulted in increase in human activity in the area. So the melting of this glacier is doubled since 1970s. It may lead to, already it has reduced the number of tributaries from this glacier from 9 to 5. It may further lead to further destruction in the environment in the Himalayan regions. Like some of them environmentalists warning that river Ganges could become in future a monsoon fed river with its source melting away completely. That is the first one. Second one, rising sea level. Not only countries like Bangladesh, Mauritius, Netherlands and Egypt and other countries, in India, states like Tamil Nadu, Gujarat and Maharashtra, they have a longest coastal areas. These coastal areas, India's coastal areas may face severe risk due to this climate change, and there are already India has faced tsunami in the year 2014 and the severe cyclone in the 2014 in Andhra Pradesh affected severely. And if the climate change, if we face natural calamities and disasters if these coastal areas, if they face natural calamities and disaster in a regular manner, it will further affect the freshwater supply to this area. That maybe seawater may intrude in these regions, that will affect in a many ways. And deforestation is greatly contributing for the global warming. Like next one is the acid rains. Burning of fossil fuels such as coal, oil and natural gas is the result in the production of chemicals like sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxide. In combination with water and other chemicals in the area, they became harmful pollutants and spread upwards in the atmosphere. So acid rain wash away the nutrients from the soil, resulting in water pollution and poisoning of plain soil. And next important thing is the ozone layer depletion. How already I have explained how the ozone layer is getting depleted. Ozone is formed by the action of sunlight on oxygen. It forms a layer 20 to 50 kilometers above the surface of the earth. It is highly polluted and poisonous gas, often results in human health hazards by causing respiratory problems. It also severely affects the natural vegetation and leads to the deterioration of the plastic products. Ozone layer is the vital thing protecting earth from the ultraviolet rays and radiation. And also ozone layer absorbs the harmful ultraviolet radiations from the sun and protects the surface of the earth. So if the ozone layer started thinning, result of the emission of the chlorofluorocarbons, which affect in many ways in the earth. So the Montreal Protocol of 1987 that aims at protecting the ozone layer came out with a different proposal to ensure recovery of the ozone layer, and it has proposed the ban of the use of chlorofluorocarbons by the year 2000. So many countries, they are trying to implement, some they are not implementing as the international communities are expecting. Hope you understood this lecture clearly, the effect of climate change. If anybody wants to read or interested in this topic further, I have given the references like Arvind Jain and Abhinesh Panda. They both have published Global Warming, Our Journey from Rio to Copenhagen and the Road Ahead. This is published in the journal World Focus. Next one is Ramachandra Guha. He published How Much Should a Person Consume? Thinking Through the Environment. This was published by Permanent Black, New Delhi. Then United Nations, if you go to the United Nations website, they have so many documents related to the climate change and the international conventions. Thank you so much for listening this lecture. We will again meet once again in some other topic. Thank you.